Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. Live video Saturday morning. Beautiful day here in Lebanon, Ohio. And I'm going to take your questions for about a half an hour. If you have more questions than that, I'll take it longer than a half an hour. So I'll be here as long as you guys can stand me. I hit in the recording studio today and I got some really nasty sinus issues. So if I'm blowing my nose in this video, you just have to bear with me. One good thing about this video is my beard is its real color. Unlike Jerry Ward, I don't dye my beard. No disrespect to Jerry Ward. No disrespect to Jerry Ward, but I don't dye my beard. I keep it all natural. What's going on, Shane Thompson? I want to start off with a little bit of a quick topic, and then we'll dive into your live questions. So if I miss your questions, just keep them rolling. The title of this video, Your Form Sucks. Nothing could be more true, and I don't want to tick off people and have them run away from my channel. God knows my channel isn't that successful to begin with, but your form sucks. And I say that with a lot of love because, like, I walk into the gym and I see 80% of people that just have major form issues. I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see 80% of people with major form issues. I'm going through Instagram and I see 80% of people with major form issues. And what's going on, Chris? And you know, I'd like to get on here and say you have really good form, but most people, and I know most of you, just based on the numbers that I see in gyms, have really poor form, especially when it comes to squats and deadlifts. There are a couple common mistakes, obviously, with the bench press that people make all the time. Arms flared, flat bench, no tight upper body, all that kind of good stuff. But it's really squats and deadlifts where I see a lot of bad form. Thank you, Gavin. And thank you, Justin. I appreciate all you guys' support. So, you know, I just want to encourage you guys to continue to work on your form, I'm not calling this video Your Form Sucks, you know, to be a dickhead or anything. I'm doing it because I really want to help you guys improve with how many bad squats and deadlifts I see in gyms. You just have most people just have a long way to go. Thanks, Aaron. Just have a long way to go. So continue to work on it. Read articles on form, study videos on form, have people critique your form. I do a form critique service that you can check out at my website, Super Living Today. It's linked down below. You can check that out if you want the big, hairy, ugly dude to critique your form. All right, I got my black coffee. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to do questions for about 30 minutes. That's Fiona's sewing station. I don't actually get over there and sew because that would be really bad. And that's the kitchen where I cook steroids in, according to the fake Mercenary. So if you want to know where all the hard work is done when I'm not at work, that's where I cook steroids. So what's up, guys? What's going on? If you have any questions, just light them up. I'd be glad to answer your questions. Shane says, my wife... Hey, is anybody there? Anybody still there? My video YouTube just decided to drop to nothing, blank space. So I don't know if the last 3 minutes were recorded, so I apologize. But I was actually trying to run a live video, but YouTube, the solid platform that it is, can't get its act together. So I apologize for that. So yeah, Shane, I got a new website. It's called Super Living Today. And basically, I'm trying to move I'm trying to transition not just from doing, you know, strength and muscle building, which obviously is still my passion, but I also want to incorporate, you know, I'm going to be doing some stuff locally like obesity seminars, confidence building stuff for the obese, trying to equip the obese to, you know, lose weight and all that kind of good stuff. And, you know, along with that, I want to get into some life coaching for people. Because over the last 4 years, I've transformed quite a bit, not just physically, but mentally. And I've learned a lot about confidence, about appearance, things like that. So a lot of people can make a physical transformation, but when they're done with that transformation, you know, they can still kind of hide in their clothes and whatnot and not always put their best effort forward. So I'm going to kind of be doing everything. What's going on, Andre? Welcome to the channel. I'm going to be doing a live video for about a half an hour if you guys have any questions. Gavin Chester says, would you do another trail marathon? Yeah, we're going to do another trail marathon. I have a half marathon in December in Kentucky. And then I'm going to try to do a full regular marathon that's not on a trail, just to get that accomplishment out of the way. And then we're going to do another trail marathon, but we're going to train a little bit more for that. Let's see. TT says, my program has me ramping sets for 10 sets of 3 reps. What percentage should I start counting the sets at first set? If you're going to do a 10 by 3 and you're just dumping into a 10 by 3, where should you start with weight? Probably somewhere around 75 to 77.5% of your 1 rep max approximately. I hesitate to have you start at about 80% because some people will overestimate their 1 rep max. And you know what? It's a new type of program. So start at maybe, I don't know, about 77.5% of your 1 rep max. Do a 10 by 3, see how that feels, and progress from there. Devin, if I missed your question, sorry. YouTube dropped out, so just post it up again. Jamie Smith says, opinion on behind the neck press for shoulder development. I did behind the neck press almost exclusively for 25 years. There's a lot of hate on this exercise. I think it can be a good shoulder developer. Here's a couple things to think about. If you're a big, beefy guy, the more beef you have in your torso and in your neck, the further back you're probably going to have to move your elbows and your hands to get the bar down to here on behind the neck presses. Because of that, you could end up placing more strain on your shoulder. So if you're a beefy guy, kind of maybe a little bit overweight or a lot of muscle, it might be better just to do seated overhead presses, push presses, military presses, or seated dumbbell presses. Another thing when it comes to the behind the neck press, you don't really want this to go much below parallel. I bring the bar just about to ear level. That's slightly below parallel. The further back you're bringing your elbows, you're going to start from here to here. You're going to feel a lot of increase in shoulder stress. So really, you only need to bring the bar about there. Bottom of ear level is a good area to shoot for, and then push up. You're going to get a lot of shoulder recruitment. But in everything, it's going to come down to personal experience and how it feels for you. So if anything feels wonky, do not continue to do it. Let's see. Let me just block this clown. If I can do it on here. Thoughts on Candido's linear period program? I don't know it. I don't really know anything about Candido's program. Honestly, it's one of the few programs I don't know anything about. What I tell people on most programs is, most programs developed by experienced powerlifters or coaches are reasonable programs. They contain a good, they contain the exercises you need to be doing. And really, it's going to come down to different set and reps and periodization schemes and all that kind of good stuff. So, even if I did know a lot about it, all I really tell guys is if it interests you, try it. No one program is going to be better than the other. Let's get that straight. There's no magic program. I don't care what Candido can deadlift. You know what? I'm a strong guy too. I got very strong as well. And he was good in what he did, and I was good at what I did. And Louis Simmons is good at what he does, and so on and so forth. Jim Wendell is good at what he does. There's a lot of different flavors out there, and people are often searching to find out which one is better. They're all different styles. No one's really going to be better or worse. If it motivates you, give it a try, because I think it's only 6 weeks. You'll learn a lot and see if you actually like it. You'll probably learn about within 2 weeks whether you like it or not. And you can go from there. Kenneth Dixon said, been watching your channel for a while now and find it really inspirational on my fitness journey. Thanks, Kenneth. That's great to hear. I hope you're doing great on your fitness journey. And, I just tell people stay strong. Just stay strong and keep focused. Just keep putting one step forward at a time. You know, life comes down to choices. And each moment of your day, you have a choice to make, and just try to make the right choice. And if you make the wrong choice, and we're all going to make wrong choices each day, don't let that stop you from making the next right choice. Let's see. Andre says, how's your diet and weight loss going? It's been going good the last week. I had about the 2 or 3 days leading up to a marathon, I didn't want to be in a calorie deficit, so I bumped my calories up slightly. I've been really pulling back on beer consumption. And this week, my calories have been about 2,500 a week. I've lost, since the marathon, I've dropped 10 pounds. A lot of that has been water weight. So it's back on track. In November, I'm going to be undergoing surgery. I'm going to be getting rid of the loose skin I have up here and on my belly. And it's not a lot, but it's about 10 to 15 pounds of loose skin. I was a 346-pound guy, so I got some movie skin down here and over there. That's really freaking annoying, to be honest with you. And as I tell folks that ask about loose skin, if it's still a mental burden after losing weight, you probably want to ditch that burden overboard if you have the financial means. So that's my goal. I want to get down to 210 by the time I have that surgery, so I'm highly motivated right now. Francois, how important is periodization for intermediate bodybuilders? It's actually kind of important for intermediate bodybuilders, because as you get stronger, and you continue to try to do the same type of programming, you're going to reach a point where you're just going to start to feel beat up as a bodybuilder. So I've been there myself. One thing I recommend is some form of periodization. You can do nonlinear periodization, when 1 week you can do your normal type of training, and then the next week you drop the relative intensity, meaning you're not training as heavy, but you may be doing volume training. Or 1 week you could do normal training, and then the next week you could drop the weight just a little bit and do rest pause or block training. I find that's a really good way to stay fresh, to stay healthy. And once you reach the intermediate stage and you've built a lot of muscle and strength using the basics, exploring rest pause training or block training or more volume training, it's probably a good time to dive into that pool and play around a little bit, and it'll help you save your joints, because it only takes, depending on the individual, a year to 2 to 3 years to get to the intermediate stage. And once you're there, gains come much more slowly. You're just fighting for pounds and ounces. So you can't just continue to beat yourself up for the next 10 to 20 years. You got to also take care of your body. So you have to kind of figure out how to do that. Sexton Hardcastle. That sounds like a sexy name. Are you aiming for orc mode? Actually, with how much John Blano, the fake Merc, copies my videos, how you feel is a lie. I don't know how many times I've made that video, and that guy just made it again. He loves to copy my content. He loves to watch. And in fact, recently, he said he still loves my advice. God bless Mr. Orc Mode. But with how much he copies my stuff, I probably invented Orc Mode 10 years ago and just can't remember it. So, I don't know. Nah, we're big, hairy, ugly dude mode. We don't know. Jade says, you're almost at 40K subs. I've been following since 5K subs. I appreciate your support, JH. A lot has changed over the years with this channel. I've tried to evolve my information and my approach, not to be as much of a dickhead and give out better information. And it can be a challenge at times, coming up with new topics and new ideas to talk about. But I always try to mix it up, not just for you guys, but for me as well, so I don't stay bored. And I'll probably continue to introduce new topics and new ideas along the way. And I appreciate you guys' support. One thing that won't change is I won't put on a circus act, and I'll just continue to try to focus on giving you guys good information. John Francois says, what about late intermediate, early advanced? They run the same game as an intermediate lifter. They can't continue. You can go through short periods of time where you're peaking, where you're doing heavy weight for 8 to maybe 10 weeks. But advanced lifters, they need to play the same game. They can't just pound, 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 pound with heavy weight. They can for a while, but it's going to catch up to them. So the game's really no different for advanced lifters. How do you lose the dad bod? How do you lose any bad body? There's two factors. You have fat loss and you have muscle gain. Now, a lot of people try to do the both at the same time, and that's a good way to do it. You want to go into the gym and you want to attack the weight and you want to learn exercise form and you want to get a lot stronger than you are now. But while you're doing that, you got to remember your main focus is on getting that fat off your body. That's the main goal, because you'll never look good with all that extra fat. You'll never be perfectly healthy. You'll never be reasonably healthy with all that extra fat. So get that fat off. And then when that fat is off, you can go in cruise control mode. But you know what? Far too many people don't get a lot stronger than they are now. I can walk into the Tiger Fitness gym where I work out, and I see a lot of guys doing like 10-pound, isolation exercises out the wazoo. Man, you got to set that crap down. You got to set that aside and save it for the end of your workout and do something heavy. So, I don't know. Did I get off track there? Jackson Price, if you don't recommend Westside for early intermediates, what do you suggest? No, I really don't I don't really think Westside, the principles of Westside are really good for anything other than the near advanced to advanced lifter. What do I suggest for the early intermediate? I suggest the programs in my book, Massive Iron, which you can find at superlivingtoday.com, or you can check out down below. If you don't have my book, everything you need is in Massive Iron to equip you. If you don't like the programs in there, I have tons of free programs at tigerfitness.com under my name. Just tons and tons of ideas for free. If you do have my book and you're still asking what to do for early intermediates, time to go reconnect with my book. Oh, excuse me. Brad Castleberry's polystyrene plates says, hey, Steve, do you think there are any benefits to doing the fake mercenary squat? I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. The fake mercenary squat. When I was in the military, the mercenary squat might have been considered taking a dump in the woods. So I wish the internet would take a dump in the woods and stop supporting the fake mercenary. I can't believe all the views that dickhead still gets when all he does is regurgitate information and attack people. So I encourage everybody, please stop supporting that guy. Chris Galore says, was Alan Roberts your inspiration to go slim? Chris, you know what? No, Alan Roberts isn't my inspiration to go slim. I lost 100 pounds long before I met Alan. In fact, and Alan can tell you this, he has a video up on his channel. When me and Alan first trained together, he made a video about how he trained with Steve Shaw and barely survived. So we were kind of like a third of the way through a leg workout, and Alan was Alan, I love Alan like a brother. I mean, I've stayed at his house. I'm going back to see him next weekend. But he was in pretty bad shape. He could lift heavy. I always respected Alan for that. But he just had completely changed things around. So to say, is he an inspiration? Well, anybody that makes a big change in their life inspires you, obviously. But my prime inspiration has always been just health and longevity. I just want to continue to refine. I've been wanting to get down to 210 pounds for a couple of years. But, the last year's been a big strain, meeting an Australian and having her fly back and forth. And I maintained my weight till, I don't know, it went up and down a little bit, but now that we're finally settled in and married and life is good, we get on to doing the thing we do and get back to my goals. Andre says, do you think having 1 to 2 alcoholic beverages in the evening can negatively affect your performance? No, not at all. Not at all. I like beer. I mean, I love beer. I don't like watered down NASCAR beer like Busch and Miller and Budweiser and all that kind of stuff. No disrespect, man. I like the strong stuff. Like if it's less than 7%, I'm probably not gonna like it. I like porters and stouts and IPAs and Belgian quads and all kinds of just strong hitters. And it doesn't negatively affect your performance having 1 to 2 drinks. You just got to factor it into your diet and make sure you're not going to allow it to cause you a beer belly, or a lot. God, you're looking hot today. Jesus, did I actually marry that thing right there? Good Lord. So, you just have to factor it in your diet. One thing I have learned, though, is that when I do drink, have a couple drinks, I need to drink a lot of water before I go to bed. And it's probably good to have a snack before I go to bed as well. You can take veggies and Greek yogurt or whatever. That's a really, really good idea, but it won't affect performance at all. If you got a big day tomorrow, it's probably a good idea to abstain from alcohol, though. Israel says, hey, Steve, I have a total torn ankle tendon. That does not sound fun. It hurts the day after doing deadlifts. What other workout can I do instead of deadlifts? Well, Israel, I hope you've been to see a doctor about that. If you have a torn ankle tendon, I really don't like the idea of putting any pressure on your ankles, any instability on your ankles. With the deadlifts or squats, obviously we don't talk about it a lot, but that's your base and your root. That is your foundation. And when your foundation is jacked up, you might not notice it, but it's going to cause, it has the potential to cause a chain reaction and small changes in how you position yourself or how your knees are handling things, and then how your hips. So if you have something going on in the ankle, you really don't want to be squatting or deadlifting. The best thing you can do if you have a deadlift issue is probably, if you're still able to, you might want to do Dimmel deadlifts. That'll keep up your hip and your deadlift strength, and they're really difficult. But you go lightweight, like 135, 185, 225, and you do them for 20 reps, and they're basically just a hip hinge. Google them, or check them out on YouTube. That's about the only thing I would do in that with that condition. But then again, I'd ask your doctor and just use common sense. But you also want to do a lot of heavy ass dumbbell rows. I wouldn't do barbell rows because it's basically the same position as a deadlift. You're on both feet and you're pulling a lot of weight. With a dumbbell row, you can brace yourself, and you only have to put, you can put more weight on one foot. And do heavy volume dumbbell rows to keep that back strength up. What's going on, Omar? Just sitting here drinking my coffee in the steroid lab that I run. Actually, we're making some aprons. You want to show them your apron?
My license.
She's looking for a license.
I lost it.
She's got a license to keep an animal.
I need one for you.
Sorry, this app just froze up again. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Iris G said, hey, Steve, checking in. Congrats on completing the marathon. Thank you, sir. Honestly, after 10 miles was done, I'm like, shoot, I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to do this. And then when we got to 20 miles, I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then that last lap was just living.
I could say g'day.
Hell yeah. Say g'day, mate.
G'day, mate.
Was that last week, the last 5 or 6 miles of the marathon complete hell for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were like a slow snail.
Yeah, I was so slow. I was just trying to survive, but I did.
Stay alive.
Yeah, but we actually stayed alive. So, all right. Let's see what the next question we have is. Tim Swindler says, anything to replace incline presses for a while as they are bothering my shoulder. Do you mean? I'm assuming you mean incline dumbbell bench presses. If you're I don't know if you're doing with a barbell or dumbbell. I don't know if you're doing bench presses, your foundation. It's kind of a hard question to answer without knowing your programming, because there's a lot of variables. But if you're doing an incline press, the first thing you need to understand is that it's probably not needed necessarily for working your upper chest. A lot of that information is bunk. I like a lot of dumbbell variations after bench press. You can do alternating dumbbell bench press, which is a great exercise, one that very few people use. I like to do a volume of dumbbell bench press. I like to do a lot of push-ups. You could do feet elevated push-ups And you can just make sure you keep your elbows down. You don't want to flare them, and you can get some good incline action on that as well. And it's probably not going to be as stressful on your shoulders. And you can do like a 3-minute block and just try to do as many feet elevated push-ups as you can in that 2 to 3 minute block. So that's a good suggestion, a good option as well. Sergeant Hartman says he's leaning out nicely, getting peeled and looking dry and grainy while retaining hard, dense muscle. Okay. That's not me, but I don't know who you're talking about. Tarek, sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Yo, big, hairy, ugly dude, what's the percentage you should use on hypertrophy days? Thanks for valuable info. Hypertrophy days, I always tell you, like if you're doing muscle building, you want to start off with a big hitter. You want to start off with about 5. These are just generalizations, but you want to hit a compound exercise for about 5 to 8 reps for a few sets. Then you want to move on to a less intense exercise, maybe a more moderate compound exercise or an intense machine exercise, and do some volume work or do some of the rep goal system, which I talk about in my book, Massive Arm, which you can check out, link below. Do some more volume type of work with 1 or 2 exercises in generally in maybe the 8 to 12 rep range, somewhere around there on average. There's no magic rep ranges, obviously. And then I like to finish out with an isolation exercise and or a finisher. So I'm not sure if that helps you, but you can check out more information in my book, Massive Iron. And the percentage of weight, for the most part, the weight you're going to be using when it comes to hypertrophy is probably anywhere from 65 to about 82.5% of your 1 rep max. That's a good mix. You want to start out heavier, and then as you fatigue and you work out, use less intense exercises and a little bit lighter weight. Let's see. Thanks for your support, Chris. Hey, Robert, what's going on in Texas? Texas is in the house. Robert Shinetsky. I'll never be able to remember how to figure out how to spell his name. He's one of the best writers in the industry. You can check out his work at tigerfitness.com. Eli Weekly. Let me get some coffee. We're 28 minutes in. You guys are rolling. Eli Weekly says, I'm a torso dominant lifter. I'm having trouble putting mass on my triceps. I can bench 325 and overhead press 225. So lack of tricep strength isn't the problem. Any ideas? I'd love to learn more, Eli, because these are the types of questions that I really want to dive into and know specifics, like what your tricep workout is, what your arm size is. I could give you some generic tips. Probably, if you're not already, you want to be working triceps twice a week. You want to probably kick up your volume a little bit on your triceps work. And, I'd have to look at exercise selection, all that kind of good stuff. But, I'm gonna chill and I'm gonna suggest something to you. If you have the time and money, check out my workout assessment service at superlivingtoday.com, or I'm gonna link it below. I can do a complete workout analysis. I'm gonna dive into like your arm size and everything in your program and maybe make a few suggestions. So that's what I would suggest, because this is for a very experienced lifter like yourself, you're going to need some really specific advice based on what you're doing. So sorry if that wasn't helpful. Andre says, were you sore after the marathon? Sweet baby Jesus. I couldn't even, we were like, after the marathon, we're going to get a huge meal, right? We're going to get a huge meal. And we got to the grocery store after the marathon, and it took me 3 minutes to get out of the car. And then I felt like a newborn deer. I couldn't even stand up. So I had to stand with my hand on the door for 3 minutes just to get the blood circulating.
I slapped him on the ass and went, get on with that old dude.
For the next 2 days, I couldn't even move. And, I'm still sore and still recovering. So, good night, mates. Just in time to be vegan. Let's see. Roman G says, beautiful woman, I'm happy for you. Thank you, Roman. Let's see. James the Truck Miller. James the Truck. Anybody that is the Truck has found the right channel. The big, hairy, ugly dude and the Truck. James Miller says, my current weight is 357, started at 443. First off, great job. Really glad to see you've lost 86 pounds. Can I get down to 250 without loose skin? No way, buddy. No way. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but, you know, I've talked to so many experts on this, seen so many transformation stories. There's no way to get down to lose a lot of weight, to lose 200 pounds, and to not have loose skin. It's just impossible. It's just not going to happen. So you just have to understand that, you know, there's no cures for loose skin. There's no magic cleansings. There's no magic detoxes. There's no exercises that'll take it away. Obviously, building muscle will make it less prominent, but only by a very, very small degree. Your only options are to embrace it or to get surgery done. And I'm getting surgery done myself in November, because you know what, I've been dealing with it for 4 years, and even though mine isn't a lot, it's a mental burden. And after you lose a lot of weight and you've developed a better body, you don't want to see that stuff in the mirror every day. So I'm all about tossing mental burdens overboard. You know what? I'd start a little savings plan right now and go talk to a doctor. I'm sure they have installment plans and whatnot. They'll take care of you. Let's see. The Iron Journey 94. Difference between concurrent periodization and power building. Well, power building is a philosophy. Power building, and this is a term I've been using forever, and a lot of people have used it since the big hairy ugly dude really brought it into prominence. And I hate to be that guy and say I'm the one that brought it into prominence, but I've been calling what I do power building forever. So it's a term I like. Power building for me is an attitude. It's the attitude of trying to get as big and as strong as humanly possible. So we're not bodybuilders. We're not power lifters. We're power builders. We want it both. We want size and strength. We don't just want one side of the fence. We want everything. We want everything on the buffet. Concurrent periodization is just a periodization scheme. So concurrent periodization can work in either realm, bodybuilding, powerlifting, or power building. Not sure if that helps. Let's see. You bet, Robert. Robert said, thanks for the kind words. What kind of coffee? What kind of coffee are we drinking? We have like a K-cup addiction where we get like every flavor we can find at Kroger.
I like the flavors.
We just like options. I just drink black coffee.
I like the nutty creamy one.
She likes nutty cream. Wait, don't say that on YouTube. That's completely it. That was Alexa. Alexa, was that you?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Oh, Alexa won't even cover up for her. Hey, Christian, what's going on? Christian, yes, your form sucks. Yeah, Christian, I started off the video by saying 80% of the guys I see at the gym have major form issues that really need to be corrected. So I was trying to lovingly tell everybody, don't stop working on your form, because most of the exercise form I see on social media is absolutely atrocious. Ephraim says, what keeps you motivated to continue making content in such a toxic community like YouTube Fitness? That's actually a really, really good question. And honestly, you know, being in YouTube Fitness, I get sucked in the vacuum occasionally. I get people that'll come after me, or, you know, people like Jerry Ward that'll call me like, Mark Lobleiner's sidekick, or, you know, people get mad at me because I allowed Jason Blaha to write, 5 years before he revealed himself as an idiot, or, people like Kenny KO who blocked me. What keeps me motivated is people. Like, I've always been involved with forums. Back when I had my website, Muscle and Brawn, and even when I worked for Muscle and Strength. And now at Tiger Fitness, I'm heavily involved with the Tiger Fitness group and the Massive Iron group on Facebook. It's about people. I mean, I like people. We meet people. We love to interact with people. And at the end of the day, all this noise, it doesn't matter to me, because, there's a lot of YouTube channels that are just out there to make money. There's a lot of YouTube channels that are obsessed with views. You know what? I make a good second living. But I make a good second living because I try to provide decent quality products and services for people. But it's not my primary focus. Your primary focus at what you do has to be a passion for what you do. That's how you make money. You don't go chase money like these other YouTube channels. They're chasing money and putting on and trying to put up a circus so they can bring money in. They're doing it backwards. You always have to follow what your passion is in life, and that's what brings you in money. So I don't chase money. My passion is to help people. I want to see people change. I want to see people change their lives and reach their goals, whether it's building more strength or building more muscle or losing weight or just getting more confidence. So that's what keeps me motivated. All these other jokers out there, hey, they got 300, 400,000 subscribers. That's great. That's wonderful. Proud of them, but I'm not chasing that. Do I wish I had 300,000 people that would subscribe to me and listen to my advice? Of course, because I'd be able to reach more people, but I am what I am, and I'll probably be an 80-year-old bastard out here on a cane getting 30 views per video, in like 30 years, and everyone will talk about what a joke he is, and he's still going. But I'm still going to be grinding away, trying to help the one or two people that are listening. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Glenn Jones says, you will be dealt with, non-negotiable. That is awesome. You know what? I went down to Houston one time, and I tried to meet with John Blano before all the mess went down, but he chickened out and wouldn't meet me. But you know what? I'm not afraid of anybody. Life is what it is. I've been through some hard times, and like people that make threats to you, people that try to threaten you, they reveal a lot about their personality. Like, I've been punched. I've survived the military. I've been in a lot of tough situations. I've developed mental strength through powerlifting and through losing 100 pounds, and I've executed it in things like running a marathon. People who threaten you, all they're revealing is that they're afraid of threats themselves. You know what? If somebody comes and punches me on the street, I'm going to deal with them. If somebody disrespects my woman, I'm going to deal with them. Does that mean I'm a tough guy and don't think I'm going to get punched or don't think they might pull out a gun? No, I'm not a fool. But I just know what I have to do as a man. I'm not afraid of being punched. I'm not afraid of doing the right thing. So if you have a dipshit like John Blano out there who's acting like all tough, you know what? It just reveals a lot about his personality. If someone bopped Moon Cookie in the face, he'd probably run like a little pussy because you could just tell by the way he acts on YouTube. Posturing is for kids. Posturing is for boys. A man knows what he has to do, and a man does what he has to do. You know what I tell Fiona all the time? I say, and this is no joke, I say if a man walks in here with a gun, he better shoot me in the head or in the heart. Because if he doesn't shoot me in that place, I'm going to shove the gun up his fucking ass. That's the attitude I have. It's not a tough guy attitude. It's an attitude like as a man, like you're not afraid of doing what you need to do, right?
More protected. You should do that.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about that. Did Fiona first fall in love with your traps? Was it my traps that you first fell in love with, Fiona?
Actually, I didn't know what they were, to be honest.
What do you call these things?
I said, those bullocks that pull around the big logs?
Yeah,
when they used to build things and they put
big bowls,
They look like things a bull has.
Yes. Yeah, bull has big bullocks and big testes as well, right?
I'm like, why do you have these big things here?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to keep going as long as you guys got questions. Ashy1 says, tips for a tall guy who sucks at the bottom of his deadlift. We actually have a really good video by my friend Rob, who is a top power lifter, on deadlifting and squatting for the deadlift for tall guys. You can go over to the Tiger Fitness YouTube, and I believe there's an article on Tiger Fitness as well. Deadlifting for tall guys, squatting for tall guys. A great resource, and if you can't find it, add me on Instagram, @BenTheBarman, and I'll send you the link. Let's see. Alan Hynek says, do you recommend keeping shoulder blades pinched together during pull aparts? I don't do pull aparts, never done pull aparts. And one thing I tell people on this channel, if I have no personal experience with something, I'm not going to give you advice. So that's just something I don't know anything about. I would check out the Massive Iron community at Facebook, link below. A lot of good guys there, a lot of smart guys. Post that question. Someone will be able to help you out. Andre says, any advice for people wanting to become coaches? Yeah. Number one, make it about people, right? Build relationships. Number two, understand what your strengths are and don't try to coach people in stuff you don't know. Understand your strengths and coach from your strengths. Okay? I don't tell people how to eat vegan. I don't have anything against vegan. I don't tell people how to eat vegan because I'm not a vegan. So understand your strengths. Be passionate about people. Build relationships with people. Understand your strength. Now, here's a big one. Don't get tired of the same questions. I see so many people in this industry who will hear the same question over and over and over again. They get pissed off because they hear it over and over and over again. Don't be that guy. There's always a wave of people that have never heard your information before. You have to respect these people. You have to respect that they're in the position that the last guy was in. They don't have the answers. Give them the time. And number four, your time is money. Like for me, honestly, it's like an avalanche of questions. I get up and there's tons of Instagram DMs, tons of YouTube questions, tons of questions on the Tiger Fitness Facebook group, tons of questions on the Massive Iron group. And at some point, I realized I could just spend 12 hours a day answering questions for free. So as a coach, you need to be able to answer a few questions for people for free, but then you also need to be a businessman and say, I have limited time and I also need to feed my family. So for the people that are really interested in change, you have to at some point be willing to charge them for your time. And you know what? Last set piece of advice I have for people that want to be coaches, do a lot of social media. YouTube regularly, Instagram, Facebook group, all that kind of good stuff. Robert Shanetsky says, thoughts on heavy Bulgarian split squats in the 3 to 5 rep range as a substitute for back builders for the primary leg builder. Whoa, man. I don't like split squats because they just are ganky on my knee. But thoughts on heavy Bulgarian split squats as a substitute for back squats? I don't know. I don't know because I have never been able to do light Bulgarian squats. You know what? When it comes to exercises like that, I'm going to tell you my honest opinion, Robert. If you're doing a one-legged exercise where there's some instability, I don't like the 3 to 5 rep range, even though I've never performed it. I'm going to tell you, I'd rather see you doing 5 sets of 10 because I was just thinking about, I was actually laying in bed at 6:15 this morning trying to think of topics for YouTube Live. And I'm thinking, most people don't do enough volume on their squats. They're in the gym and I see them doing so many singles, doubles, and triples. But, you got to do some volume on your legs, on your main leg builder. So I'd rather see you doing like 4 to 5 sets of 10 reps or something like that. Christian says, I believe I maybe have to buy your form assessment services for my squats. Can't seem to get them feeling right no matter what. A lot of times, Christian, I'd be happy to help you. I will say a lot of times people read so much information on the squat that it becomes an unnatural movement. They forget how to squat naturally. And for a guy like you, one of the things I always try to do is return you to how to squat like a baby. I'm going to teach you how to squat naturally without all this noise in your head. And from there, you'll build a foundation back up using the cues and the things you've learned. And this will help you build a more powerful, natural squat that'll feel better. I hope that makes sense. Almost done, guys. I'll keep asking questions as long as you have them. Let's see. Andre says, has the military life changed you? Yeah, the military life changed me dramatically. And I think it's a great experience for anybody because you learn Sitfu. You learn to suck it the fuck up. You learn to do what is, excuse me, you learn to do what is required of you. You learn to function on no sleep. You learn things about yourself that you had no idea were inside of you. I think, weren't we reading the other day, like the average person only reaches, what was it, like 40% of their potential? Even when they're working, they think they're working hard, they're only at about 40% of their potential. The military teaches you that next level. And it has completely changed my life and given me a lot of mental strength. There's inherent dangers that come with it, but you know what? Once you're out of the other end of the tube and you've served your country and you got that mental strength, it's just it just feels good to have been a soldier, not just because of the military stuff, but because of the mental strength. Felix says, my bench has been stuck on 75 kilograms for 3 months. Been lifting for about 9 months. How do I break the plateau and what accessory work do I do? That's a big, meaty question, Felix. Felix, I do a workout assessment service. You can check it out down below. For questions like this, there's so many variables. I couldn't possibly answer it in a video without getting a lot of information. So I would be happy to help you. Check out my workout assessment service. Everybody using it I've gotten a lot of great feedback, so I'd love to help you. So check that out. Leo says, if an ambulance is going down a one-way road and a school bus is in front of them and has its stop sign posted, does the ambulance with the sirens on stop for the bus? Wow, that's a deep question. That's a very good question, and I don't even know how to begin to answer that. You would think the bus driver would like freeze all the kids, right? But
that's what I think too.
Let's see. Hey Steve, thanks so much for answering my questions in a comment earlier this week. My pleasure. Shavam says, hey, can you give me some exercise tips for gaining weight? I am skinny ASF. For gaining weight, yeah, I can. Buy my book, Massive Iron. It'll teach you how to lift, and it's only like $14.99. It's the best book you'll find on building muscle as quickly as possible, and it'll give you some diet information. I was a skinny biatch myself in college. I was like 152 pounds. Can I say biatch? Is that okay for a 50-year-old man?
It's not the real bitch, but yeah.
It's not the real bitch, but yeah, it's a bit lame. The audience says it's a bit lame. So, yeah, if you're having a hard time gaining weight, the first thing you need to do is like not try to gain 40 pounds in a year. You want to gain it slowly in quality amount of weight, and that requires the same effort you put into the gym. You're going to have to put at the dinner table. You're going to have to be methodical and try to gain a couple.
I'd like a bit of effort at the dinner table.
How alcohol can you drink? How much alcohol can I drink? A lot. I can get like a 6-pack of 10% and kill that, and that's like the equivalent of like a 12-pack. And I could probably drink more. I just get tired of drinking. I'm a big beefy boy. So, when's your astrophysics channel coming out? I haven't really been deep into astrophysics since I was in my early 20s. I'm still a space nut, so I really don't have anything to contribute to that end of the information dump, other than the fact that I'm still an extremely huge space nut. All right, last question. I got a question from Mario. If you guys have any questions, pop them off real quick because I'm about to jump off. Mario says, got a buddy who squats 455 but only deadlifts 350-ish. I can't figure out why. I'm not a good coach. Any experience with this? There's a lot of reasons. Sometimes you have really quad strong guys that can just power up a huge squat. They might have these big, thick, meaty legs, but he could have a weak upper back, a weak back, or a weak lower back. It's a little bit easier, a little more forgiving, less forgiving with squats and deadlifts. So there's a lot of reasons, but I've seen it before. It's unusual, but usually if he has the potential to deadlift or to squat 455, he has a potential to deadlift at least the same. So he needs to get his acting gear. Chad Webb says, thanks, you and Tiny Vest have the best honest on YouTube. Thank you. I respect James a lot. Andre says, have you seen the Joe Rogan podcast with Neil deGrasse Tyson? I watch Joe Rogan as often as I can, but not often enough, so I have not seen that one. Brandon says, what are some ways I can use progressive overload other than increasing the weight? You can increase the volume. You can restrict the rest in between sets. That's a good one. You can do block training, for example, and like try to do as many reps of the dumbbell bench press as you can in 3 minutes and try to progress in reps within that frame. So Other than progression, there are some other tools you can do to increase intensity or overload, restrict rest in between sets, increase volume. But all these other tools, you can increase number of sets you do. Excuse me. I'm going to die. I just swallowed a hair or something. All these other tools are very limited. You can't just add sets forever, add volume forever. You can't continue to reduce rest in between sets because down to a second, it just doesn't work. So all the other tools don't have a long life. Where can I get your book, Massive Iron? You can get it linked below in every video. It says Massive Iron. It is at superlivingtoday.com, or check out the link down below in this video. Robert says, are you prolific seamstress? What would you call a man that does sewing? A seamster?
A tailor?
A tailor? I'm a prolific tailor. Don't forget that.
Yeah. I don't think you could sew a button on.
Let's see. Jesus says, in regards to answering my questions to body weight earlier, maybe I should just rely on the illusion of being bigger because a muscle mass be healthy around 210 rather than 240. 240 is kind of you can be big at 210. I'm about to be big at 210. 210, you can be plenty big at 210, even if you're natty. So don't think you need to be fat. Shavam says, sir, the problem is there is no gym in my area. I used to be body weight exercises. Best thing you can do is try to find yourself a set of dumbbells that go up to 100 pounds. And you can do a lot with 100-pound dumbbells and body weight exercises. All right, guys, that's it. 52 minutes. You're probably getting sick of seeing the big, hairy, ugly dude. So, guys, as always, thanks for watching.
Oh, and stay sexy.
She came over here and forgot what she was going to say. Stay sexy, people. Thank you for your support.
Bye.